So, Lavie, I appreciate you being here and taking the time to tell us about ADV and everything you're doing, because you've got some really cool stuff to tell us about. And I want to start with you. So, my first question is almost always, who are you and why do we care?
So I'm Lavie. Let's see. I started playing tennis somewhat late, the 14, 15 era, that age range, which is late in tennis. But I fell in love with it. I coached for I want 8, 9+ years. And I wanted to be more involved. So I started ADV Tennis back in 2017. With the little dampener. That was it. That was the small little dampener that half the population loves and half the population doesn't love as much, I guess. It's about a 50-50 split in surveys. That being said, it gave us a start and we learned a lot about the tennis business, what sells, what doesn't sell, marketing. And fast forward 7 or so years, we have about actually about 6 new products. And the biggest ones are our bags. And yeah, they're different. They're cool. I like them a lot. But outside of ADV, well, outside and inside, I like to do a lot of philanthropic work around tennis. I'm a big believer in the power of tennis, power sport in general. So actually, behind me is the a Davis Cup jersey for Cambodia. So I'm a part of the tennis Cambodia team. Never played, wasn't good enough. The boys are about 1,000 to 2,000 in the world, but I know them all. I know the coaches. I know the people who run it. I just came back from a trip there. So we actually donate 5% of our profits towards helping tennis grow there and even further in Southeast Asia. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Fantastic. So, Cambodia, is that where you're originally from, your family? So, what's your connection to Cambodia?
Yeah, so my parents are originally from there. I wanted to give back, and I was in grad school in Australia, pretty broke. I couldn't give them any money, but I did fly over on points, and I did shoot a documentary to help shed the lights on kind of the return of tennis there after war. It was not best produced one. It was me, 2 cameras, and a bunch of orphans holding stuff around. Uh, but it was cool, and it's the tennis channel and I talked briefly about it, but I think one day when we have some more funds and we can do that story right and get a high production team in there, I think it's something that it's a story worth telling. I'll put it that way. So
Yeah, probably true. So you started with a dampener. If we go to the beginning of ADV, you figured out, okay, what? You didn't really want to be a tennis coach or you just wanted more. You said, "Hey, I'm gonna be like all the other tennis coaches and say I can do that thing better." And you make a dampener. And what was the special dampener? Like what made you think you could do a dampener better?
I'm a big data guy. I found a bunch of compelling data that showed that dampeners were selling really well online. Um, and I didn't think the marketing was that good. It didn't really speak to tennis players. There's some people out there just making kind of copycat dampeners and putting it out there, and it worked. So I wanted to do something better. I wanted to make that dampener actually better. And this comes from a person who, there are people who put rubber bands on their rackets and they work, but like I really do know and feel like it's a very perception feel based thing, and like even the most minute changes, the perception of minute changes really helps a player mentally. So we have 3 separate dampeners: a large, we call it max zorb, a medium zorb, and a small as a touch. We played around to design the silicon density on it, so to increase and decrease its level of feel. Obviously, the amount of strings it touches matters also. But yeah, I forgot to mention I studied engineering, so I'm kind of in that world a little bit, and I hired some right people, and you should see a picture. I was in I Play Tennis in Midtown. I'm not sure if you know I Play, but Dan's a good guy, and he let me go in there and try my dampers on every single one of his rackets to make sure they were compatible, and all the string patterns and things. So that was a fun weird thing to do in a tennis shop. So I just sat in the corner doing that. So yeah.
It does sound fun. So okay, so dampener and then it's products. So you eventually get to the point that that's what you're doing instead of coaching. Was there kind of a crossover and a switch? Or you just said, "I'm out. I'm gonna go sell cool products."
Definitely a crossover. The reason I stopped coaching, to be very frank, is I had 2 kids of my own. I have 2 kids of my own. Takes a lot of time. That and the company. And I didn't want to stop. It's kind of naturally happened. And especially when I moved from Atlanta to the Northern Virginia area, it just was a natural thing. I didn't really push to coach more around here. But you know, one day it'd be fun to start up. I would like to coach more of a team setting. So I think that's always fun. But yeah, I haven't lost the love for it. I still think it's important. That being said, I probably won't coach my kids. I'll let someone else do it. And I think that's probably a good decision. Maybe we'll see. But yeah. So
I spend quite a bit of time playing tennis with my son. Bobby, did you ever try to coach your daughter? I know she's in musical theater now, so I know it didn't take.
No, it didn't take. No, and I did not try to ever coach her. No.
Okay. Did you?
Always let
That's always an
always
interesting.
let somebody else.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's the question for the coach. So you've got 6 new products. Where I found you personally was in the bag space. Is that your most popular? Walk us through ADV. Walk us through your products and kind of what's popular and what the what the world of ADV is, because then I know I'm gonna let Bobby play with that because he'll ask a bunch of questions about that.
Yep. ADV started as Advantage, as an acronym for Advantage or a prefix for Advantage, but then it started to change it to Advance. So we want to advance tennis products. So everything we do has a twist, like an innovative twist. Dampeners were you sold them 3-pack, different silicone densities, different designs. That was our cool novel thing. With the grips, we looked at different resins and things like that to make the feel and the tackiness and dryness, absorption all different. The wristbands, we added bamboo charcoal, like very minute levels of bamboo charcoal ash in there to help prevent sweat or absorb sweat, prevent mold, prevent stink, things like that. Our hats, we put a super thin layer of silicone to prevent sweat from going down. We also put bamboo charcoal particles in there too. We made it as lightweight as humanly possible. We put a moldable cap. So if you want to look like Nick Kyrgios, you can flip your thing over. But things like that, we just want to put more thought into products and to listen to people and to see what could get better. And we did that a lot with the bags. The bags have been in R&D. The first bag was in R&D for almost a year and a half. And then we treat our bags like software, where we want to make the next version better every single time. So yeah, think about things like how we have a cooler inside the bag, how we have integrated hooks, how we have a separate sweat section of the shoe bag to prevent the sweaty clothes from dripping into the shoes. Secret compartments, tons of organization. So a lot of those things kind of go into the calculus of how we want to make. We just want to make things better. I mean, I think instead of slapping a giant logo on a bag, and we want to make it true innovation. No ding on any of the brands. Just we just want to really push.
That makes sense. Now, Bobby, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, the bags are not cheap. So they're quality, they're high end. I always say, you have really fancy bags. So my word is fancy if I'm going to kind of downplay it. But they're a $200 to $250 range. Bobby, I know you're going to ask that question, right?
Yeah, who buys them? Yeah, I mean, that is it. Where are you having success with a bag priced at that level?
So when we try to market it, we don't want to. I'm not like, hey, Bobby, buy this over a Wilson or Pavlov bag. We're never gonna undercut in price, and then we don't want to ever do that. We want you to think of these bags more like a Tumi, Travel Pro, Thule, those brands. We want this bag to be different, and it's being marketed differently. We use YKK zippers, which cost 4 to 5x more than regular zippers because they last longer, don't break. We invest in coating, putting different levels of coating on our fabrics to make them more water sealed or water resistant rather. But that being said, the people who buy the bag, these are people who really they might not, it's not so much what level you play. It's more how often you play. People, especially in leagues, clubs, they tend to want this bag more. For example, we have one club in Denver. One of the guys uses it, a coach liked it. He started using it, and legitimately 70% of the players have an ADV bag there. So I think it catches on. I think once people can feel it, see it, the calculus in their mind is like, well, I have 4 $250, $300 rackets. Maybe I should put that in a pretty good bag. So that's kind of where we go. Like, I don't like, we're never to compete. We're not going to compete on price, and then we don't want to. We want to compete on innovation.
So my curiosity, I'd like to start with the beginning. I've read about dampeners. Now, do I have a dampener in my racket? Absolutely, because the second there's not a dampener in, I hear the difference.
Yep.
But I've read that they don't absorb that much vibration. So, where you guys stand on that? Do you guys have something that absorbs more? I've heard as little as 2% that these dampeners will actually absorb vibration. So, where do you guys come down on that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, the science is like they absorb minimal, but it does not take much for you to especially hear a difference.
Here, no question.
Similar to how you like when you taste something, the smell matters just as much. It's like when you're hitting, it doesn't, that sense of sound correlates to the feel and your perception of that ball. So it doesn't, like, the most minute changes make a difference, and that's why, like, the touch damper makes a difference from the big damper, because in terms of surface area and materials touching the racket strings, it's very minimal. So that, say, that 2% difference becomes like a 0.5 difference between one damper and the other, but you know it and you feel it. Like it's like a different perception. So it's super minute, but it does matter. Because when I play without a dampener, I kind of get upset for that way.
Oh,
So,
no question. No, and to satisfy my curiosity, where I'm just thinking about what you've told me where your products are, and I've got them ranked in my head. What is your best seller? Where have you seen a real interest? Obviously, a bag is a tougher one because you don't buy one every year. You're gonna, if it's a quality bag, you're going to have it. So you're making your money on dampeners. I love the idea of the wristbands. Where have you had success there?
So in terms of the most surprising product that we were like, we'll test it out, and it really went well, is wristbands. Wristbands, people love them. I'm not even like trying to pat myself on the shoulder. Like, I was genuinely surprised how well received they were in the market. We took the concept of physical therapy wristbands that added compression, and the bamboo charcoal is proven to help with circulation. So that's why for physical therapy. That being said, it also has good sweat absorption properties. So then we combine that, change up the design a little bit. So that's wristbands. I think the dampers have always been our highest units sold, like from the very beginning, just the sheer number of them sold. But obviously bags are the high price point. I think they're the most innovative and most iterative product that we're continually going to change. Not to say we're not going to change other products. And then the other one I think is going to be interesting for your audience in particular is we had a training kit. So this is the problem. When I coached, and you both already faced this probably, I'm like, hey, Johnny, you need to tell your mom or dad to get a reaction ball, a jump rope, a elastic band, a pull rope, maybe a hand strengthener, some cones, some markers, a hula hoop. I don't know. But anyway, I was like, this is a common problem, man. And I think in this world where convenience matters, I would just say, hey, Johnny, go buy the ADV tennis kit, because it's going to have everything your coach wants. So we had that before, and it had the reaction ball, a jump rope, elastic band, and the pull rope, like that type of thing. And it sold really well. We were working, and actually sold out. We're actually working on a version 2 of it. We're going to add some new things, improve the bag that holds all the stuff in it. And actually UTA bought a bunch, like, in wholesale, because it was part of their offering to all their academy students. They would just get this. So that was super compelling, and I think that's something that's gonna be very interesting as we get to V2 of that.
Well, I think that's a great idea on how to market it. I was already thinking along those lines when you were talking. I was like, just build it into the price of
Yep.
your academy and you take care of it, because you described the contents of my ball shed with the hula hoop and the jump rope and the ropes that, you know, and because they're not having them, they don't get used as much as they should. So if they're carrying them around, I mean, when I was growing up, you know, you walked on the court and King Van Ostrand said, take your jump rope out. You know, this is what you do before you even walk on the court. So I think if they're carrying it, they're more likely to do it. So I think that's a great idea. I think your vibration, the dampeners, that would have been my guess as your top seller, not just because of convenience, but the colors pop. And the next question, obviously, always when you're the little guy going against the behemoths who all they do is further cannibalize their lines, you know, I don't think it's as important to have a W on a dampener as it is, you know, on the bag. Let's put it that way, where people who are Wilson players are going to want to have a Wilson bag or gravitate to that. I think these dampeners look good. They you know, the colors are much better than what you see normally. So that's going to resonate. And I love the idea of compression, because I've always felt tennis is so far behind in the use of compression that they've been playing catch up. So that's a great, between the charcoal and the compression, that's a differentiator, and that's something you can sell. So with that said, how do you get the word out? How do you tell your story to people that you know, this is not just another cloth wristband?
Yeah, I mean, it's our marketing. We try to market things in a more scientific way and use like engineering, and our branding is like it's like somewhat technical looking, with like matrix lines and numbers and stuff like that. That helps gets the right message out. We have done Instagram and Facebook ads. They're expensive to do. Sometimes the ROI isn't the most positive or the highest there. What we found, and this is not like a genius thing, but coaches and influencers and people who talk about it, that gets the word out. I mean, that's why Nadal gets paid so much money, and pays Federer paid so much. Like it matters who uses it and who talks about it. So that's one thing we've kind of always looked to do, and think we found a good set of people, influencer type people that could help promote it. And that's like, it gets the word out and it builds a trust that they like it. And they genuinely like it. Like one rule we have is, if the person who helps promote it, they don't like it, I don't want anybody to lie. I want people to genuinely like it and genuinely want to promote it. So.
Well, Bobby, I don't know how much you've looked at every single product, but I just looked through in the site, and the marketing is good. I mean, the wristband packaging is going to matter, because it's one thing, you get a 4-pack for $20, it's a reasonable price. I don't have the same $250 fear of the bag, but just the box. I mean, think about the Apple products that we buy, and you open it, and just the experience, it screams quality. And that's really the thing. And you look at the marketing, and new age bamboo charcoal fiber. Like, I want that. I don't even know what that means, and I want that. And that's good. I think that's beyond just Wilson saying, "Hey, we have cotton." You know, Wilson sell anyway. But in this case, I like Lavie. I like what you're saying, because you said making things better, and that's one of the things we're working on as well at GoTennis and with the podcast. We want to make things better. We want to talk to people who are interested in making things better, rather than just trying to figure out what the right price point is to sell the product. Does that make sense? Like, you're actually trying to create a good product. Let's not really worry too much. I mean, you still have to. You're running a business, so you're going to find the price point, but we're not going to cut corners.
Yep. I'd rather, like, every time we make things better, like, we added a toiletry pocket. So in the new version 3 and version 2 bags, there's a pocket, because you're going to have sunscreen. You're probably going to have like soap. You could put a bar of soap in there if you wanted for the shower. You probably don't want to, but you could put things that will spill. And that's a common thing. And that adds cost. I honestly rather make the product better and have to increase the price. And I think that resonates, because I have people who bought V1, the Pro bag. When V2 came out, they bought V2, and they've already told me when V3 comes out, they're going to buy V3. They're going to have 3 tennis bags. And I think I'm just guessing that they probably give away the other one or something. And and that's kind of like, we want people to understand that, like, we truly want to make things better and listen. Like, one of the best things, one of the best little tips that I would never have gotten if I didn't talk to somebody was, on the pro bag, the side compartment that you could, it's a big side compartment that you could put almost a piece of paper and almost a clipboard. And the guy was like, hey, this is a great pocket, but it doesn't fit my piece of paper. I have to fold it. It sucks because of that. And I'm like, huh. So I simply like took some fabric and shifted it up a little bit. And now that same pocket just fits a piece of paper. So it's just small things like that I think do matter. So we just want to always listen. So.
And I like that you said you like to treat it like software, and you take the incoming requests if it's reasonable. If this thing can be just X% bigger, it fulfills a whole new purpose.
Yep.
Hey, people, I was thinking of you treat these things like software. I'm thinking I'm going to treat it like an iPhone, because now what I want is I want my buyback program or my trade-in program where I'm going to get $50 off the V3 when I trade in my V2, like T-Mobile or something for Verizon or somebody, and I'm going to trade in the old bag where you can then repurpose that as well. I don't know how that works with the old phones, but that'd be a cool program with the bags.
Yeah, that's something we thought about. I mean, sustainability is important. We want to make sure that, I don't think people would just throw it away. I think it would be reused, but if we can offer ways to recycle them in a way where we have a pretty early on nascent refurbished program that if people want to trade up, we sometimes like a one-off basis type of thing. But similar to how some other companies do, like the model where like anything that returned, we may donate to like a needy community or something. That's something we're looking into. I don't know a timeline for that just yet, but that is something that we're noticing. People just keep wanting to buy the new ones, even if they got the previous version.
Yeah, that's what reminded me of the iPhone. When the new one comes out, I need it. I don't care if I actually need it, but I need it.
Yep, exactly.
So Bobby, I'm going to give you another shot, but Lavie, I want to start saying, is there anything we haven't covered about ADV, about you, your product, anything you want to share that we haven't quite covered yet?
I think I want to stress, like, I think the tennis is it's a very community driven sport. And I think that's what compelled me a lot to help out with Cambodia. And I think one story was I was coaching a women's team in Atlanta, Piedmont, and I shared the documentary with them, like this story about tennis Cambodia. And then the next practice, the ladies all brought just gear and stuff to donate and just wanted to help. I'm like, this is great. It's going to cost me a fortune to ship this thing out, but it's great. But I just think that if anybody's listening who just wants to support those type of things, I mean, helping ADV obviously helps that indirectly, but there's a lot of direct ways to help too. So yeah, take a look at Tennis Cambodia. Take a look at just it. You'll be fascinated by just the grassroots tennis programs in different countries and what they're doing. We work with Haiti. Haiti's trying to do things, and they're going through a very tough political time now. But like, there's like these kind of lights or beacons of sport. I'm not even just tennis, but sport in general that help countries to get through stuff. So
yeah, and we will definitely scream that from the rooftops, so to speak, whatever that looks like on a podcast. Sure, it's all in the show notes. Everybody will know, because you've got a good, even on your site, your section on your impact that you're working hard to make, and then your answer as to our why. I like that section. That's kind of a modern way of doing a site, to say this is our why. This is why we do what we do. And I think modern businesses are often just coming out and saying it. You know what? Here's why we're in business. Here's why we make this product. And hopefully we get a chance. No, I wouldn't say hopefully. We will get the chance to help you share that story, and definitely help you promote what you're doing and the impact that you're creating. I appreciate that a lot. Bobby, you got anything else for Lavie?
Yeah, two quick questions. USB ports going to be in that bag pretty soon?
So we also have a pickleball bag that also works just as well for tennis. But in that bag, in future bags, you'll have there's a small compartment where you can put a charger and then a little pass through. So we don't give the wire electronics, because that's a whole new compliance But we want to make it easy for you to charge things and put speakers and stuff in there and et cetera. So.
I figured my luggage has got it now, so I know that's got to be coming. And then the other one would be my curiosity. Everything you described seems absolutely contrary to what you think of as a tennis demographic. So your demographic has got to be younger.
You would think that, but no, like, I mean, it's mainly 35 to 55. That's kind of the sweet spot. Like,
That's younger.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. I think like the younger out of college demographic, I think they're interested. They're less willing to shell out. I think that club player every weekend who plays the match, like Alta, perfect example. They're playing that Saturday match or Sunday match, and they have that practice. They're probably doing pretty well. Like, tennis is a fairly affluent sport in general. I think it's shifting a little bit. I think it's becoming more diverse in that respect. But there's always gonna be that high end that's just, you know, it just, you pay so much for rackets in general that I think that it's just like a connection point there. I think that's still gonna exist. So yeah.
And where do we get them? Where do we find it? Are you in any pro shops, or is it your business predominantly online?
So it's mainly it's all online right now. We're working with some distributors, potentially some pro shops. One of the ideas that we have is just get one of each bag into pro shops all over the country and just have them be a vessel for people to feel it and try it. And if they see it there, they get a code. That's like a discount code. And then I want to make sure to give credit to that shop. So they don't have to hold the inventory. They are essentially an affiliate in that respect, and they would get a cut of that sale. So we're looking into that. So I think it matters that people can hold it and feel it, because it's hard to tell the material. It's like if denim and nylon had a baby, that's the material feel. So
Bobby,
American Eagle jeans.
exactly. Start making pants. Bobby, the quote on the side I'm reading is, "You love this game. Now here's a bag that carries your devotion along with it." And I think that concept will resonate. We like that word, resonate. But with that 35 to 55, that no, I'm just out of college. I don't have any money yet, so I'm just going to carry my rackets with me in a water bottle. But when I decide to get my first bag, so Bobby, I don't know if you've got your Wilson bag. Maybe guys play with the same bag their whole lives, like you're saying, that you don't buy one every year, and you don't even buy one as often as you probably buy tennis rackets. But in this case, I'm getting into tennis and I'm going to take it seriously. This is a great I wouldn't say start, because that makes it sound like your starter home, right? But it's a great start, meaning this is a phenomenal product, and it's worth taking care of your rackets. As Lavie, as you said, you got hundreds of dollars of rackets. You got your cell phone in there. You're probably crazy enough. You probably got your iPad in there too. But let's take care of our stuff, and this is quality, and we like it. So, Lavie, I appreciate taking time to chat with us. And be remiss, I will never forget, except that one time. I do want to ask you my favorite question as we end. And I am curious to know, from your point of view, everything you've been through, everything you want to do, seeing tennis as it is today, if there's anything in tennis, whether it's Northern Virginia where you are, Atlanta where we are, the United States, the world, professional, social, any level, is there anything in tennis that you would do or change?
Yeah, two things actually.
King of tennis, didn't I? You're a king of tennis. Anything you would do or change?
I think this word gets thrown a lot in tennis, maybe your other guess, but accessibility. Coming from a person, I didn't really grow up with that much. I've never formally had a tennis lesson until like later in high school. I think accessibility in that respect, like helping people come on board and fall in love with the sport, it's tough. It's hard to, you have to find a player, you have to find someone probably similar skill level to you, get equipment, things like that. I think I think I'll use one case study, and it's fascinating to me. And I'm going to mention it's pickleball. I'm not. It's more or less what I think is novel there. I think that if tennis could take a page out of that, is the fact that I went to just experience it and to understand it. When you go there, there's a court. There's like 4 pickleball courts, and like 40 people waiting patiently, mind you, and happily socializing and things to get on court. I want to see more of that in tennis. I think that happens in the world of Alta and things like that, where you have people like having fun off the court while getting ready to go on court. So I think that level of accessibility, like just the having it be more social, more fun, adhere to more levels, I think is something I want to see. And then on the pro side, I want the business of tennis to improve and evolve. Like I have some friends on tour, challenger level. It's a struggle. And then like the gap in pays is quite different from the very top tier to even the next tier. And I think it starts from just a fundamental business standpoint. I think like tennis is such a popular sport, and it could make a lot of money in general, but I don't know if there's the appetite to evolve. I know that Maratoglu is doing that, the quick tennis and things like that, but I think that's what it's going to take, because the younger generations they're going to want something different. And as we kind of age out and new players come in, I think tennis just needs to evolve. I think other sports have evolved quite well. I think tennis is slower to that. So hopefully ADV can be part of that change, because we have some cool tech things potentially in the product pipeline. So yeah, those are the 2 things.
There we go. Accessibility, Bobby. We hear it again.
Yes, we hear it again. And evolution. And I mean, that was a lot of the pain points of even the last, we can't put them because I know we don't put them in order, but you know, they're talking about the discrepancy in pay and getting people paid, you know, and time tennis. There's a lot of similarities we've heard, and the idea that people are resonating with the team idea. So Lavie, you're obviously, you know, you're right on board with everybody, and we got to figure out a way to make some of these changes. Like I say, people, you know, baseball made a big change with the clock, and it was a subtle change, but it really changes the game. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour experience, and it's much more enjoyable than sitting there thinking it might be 4.5 hours.
Yep.
You know, I think you're going to have a hard time ever getting the grand slams to evolve, but outside of the slams, everybody should be in play. Because like Lavie said, there's not a lot of people making money above board anyway, you know, with these tennis tournaments. It's a struggle, certainly a struggle. Anything below 1,000 level is a struggle. So,
yep, 100%. I think gamification. I think ways to incorporate what kids are seeing on screens, getting that type of like thought, or that I don't know, digitalness onto the court somehow, I think is going to be a huge unlock. Because I do sometimes worry how many kids are playing tennis because they either gravitate to the team sports, or they don't play sports, period, because they have other easier things to sit down and do. So I think tennis has to figure that out. I think they're working towards, I know that the USTA is doing things around that, but I think technology should be looked at as a way to grow tennis. I think that needs to happen. Otherwise, it's gonna be tough.
Agreed. Well, then technology is hopefully going to help, and what we're going to do is, Lavie, we're going to follow up, because what I like in my role, because I never actually have to answer the King of Tennis question, I get to say, okay, you've come to us with what you want to have happen, but then I want to follow up at some point in the future and ask, how are we going to do it? So I'm always trying to, in this case, crowdsource the actual answer. We want to make it more accessible. How are we going to make it? Because everybody wants it more accessible, but if we don't actually have the how, then it's not going to get done. And in that case, sometimes there's money questions, there's time, resources, all those things. With the tour, if I could call the ATP right now and tell them how, do we have the answer? And because we see that a lot. Bobby, I just mentioned, we hear accessibility and we hear, hey, you know what? I like the way you put it, Lavie, though. Evolution is a good thing. It needs to evolve. It needs to become a different but better concept. It needs to always be improving. And tennis is kind of an old school sport. I mean, golf is never going to have golf carts with music playing, and like it's just never going to be that different because it's very old school and, like you said, unlikely to change.
This could be, it's make me sound like a big nerd, a big tennis nerd, but I actually wrote my graduate dissertation on developing a framework for an evolution of sport using tennis as an example. So it was about like 45 pages on tennis. Something like that. It's been a long time, but it was it's interesting. Like yeah. If you ever want to just, you know, burn an hour, read that.
I'm about to, so I'm going to follow up because yes, I was about to say, please send me a copy of that. But yeah, let's see if we can figure those things out because we're looking for answers. Everybody wants change, except for those that don't. But if we can make things better, I mean, Bobby, what did you say the other day? 1,500 people in other team sports are professionally paying their bills, and in tennis, it's less than 100.
Yeah, do the math. I mean, professional football, there's 30 teams with 55 people on the active roster. So
Yep.
that, you know, just do the math there. Basketball's got 15 people on an active roster that are all making well over $1 million a year. Baseball's got 25 people on an active roster. Tennis doesn't have 100 people, men and women are you know, they're making money. After that, it's a struggle. So yeah, it needs to be addressed, and it's and you said golf, and look, golf rounds are down. You know, golf is going through it. The post Tiger era isn't resonating. Look, they finally, somebody bought him and said, we're going to make this a league. We're going to cut down the amount of tournaments. We're going to make a, you know, there's something to be said about, I'm not going to go cheap. I'm going to keep it. My product is worth this, and that's what I'm going to do. And, you know, if you want it, this is what it's going to cost you. So, you know, tennis needs to look at what they're doing, find the right price point, and make it accessible. As Lavie said, we know the technology. We've spoken to the wall people. There's a lot of things that would resonate with kids that you could get out in front of them and you know, and make it. We know it's a health issue. We have an obesity issue. There's so many things that resonate with that would change to get people more active. So, yep, that's what we're trying to do. So, Lavie, I expect to see you. I know we don't date it, but sometime in November, you're coming down to be with us at our fall festival.
I will try. Yeah. I would try. I think it's not just the amount of pay, but I think the variability in pay. Like there's no salary, right? And you get injured or you have we all have bad months, whatever we do, right? And essentially your livelihood is at risk if you have a bad month or you get sick. And then like combine that with when I go to, I'm going to US Open. I don't know if you guys are, it'd be great to meet up there. But a grounds pass cost me $275, and that wasn't even marked up. That was just $275. It used to cost me $75.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's something there. I leave it at that. It's a lot of money to pay for a grounds pass. I know it's a
it certainly limits who can go. Like you said, you're not, you know, and again, sports have made this mistake before. Baseball, when they went to only night games. I mean, I grew up. Now, again, I'm the oldest person in the room, but I used to look forward to the fall coming home from school because there would be playoff games on. Now, you know, if you're a parent, do you really want your kid up past 12 o'clock to watch the game? It hurts participation if the kids can't watch to see other people do it. So there's no question to me, tennis is not, you can't see it as much as you used to be able to. You know, it needs a lot of, it's time for a refresher. There's no question about it. And like I said, they need to learn because nobody's immune from it. Everybody suffers. But the only machine that keeps rolling is NFL, and I don't get it. So
Hard to compete.
Like violence.
Hard to compete with the NFL, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's why I like to push because let's brainstorm sometimes. Let's talk to. I like to be whether Bobby wants to be the oldest one in the room, or we'll figure out who the smartest one in the room is. And Lavie, we're gonna have to lean on you for that one. So we're gonna. All right, let's get some answers. Let's talk again. And yeah, hopefully we see you in November. But I appreciate your time. and we will stay in touch. I am in the middle of looking for your dissertation right now, so if you want to save me a minute, send me a link. I would love to read that. Bobby, as always, thank you so much. You're over there. I appreciate it. Lavie, we will be in touch. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you. This was fun.